Hello, I'm Alisa Frik, and today we'll talk about the study that we conducted together with the colleagues from the University of California, Berkeley, about users' expectations about and use of smartphone privacy and security settings. Smartphones are the most commonly used type of communication technology. Over 80% of people in the world have a smartphone. Thus, smartphone settings remain one of the main models for information privacy and security controls, and their usability is especially important for protecting users' privacy. For instance, those settings allow users to opt out of data tracking and ad personalization, set passcode for unlocking the screen, enable two-factor authentication, automatic updates, and other features. Yet, users don't always fully understand the implications of changing their privacy and security settings. Confusing information architecture, poor usability, and jargon make it even harder to navigate those settings. Their knowledge, skills, and experience with technology in general, and privacy and security specifically, may vary across different socio-demographic groups. Thus, poor usability of smartphone setting menus may disproportionately affect certain vulnerable populations, for example, children, older adults, lower income, lower education, and marginalized communities. However, little research has been conducted to investigate that. While some prior research focuses on specific socio-demographic groups, for example, older adults, or particular settings in isolation, for example, screen locking, to the best of our knowledge, no prior work offers the broad examination of users' opinions about smartphone privacy and security settings and comparisons across different socio-demographic groups. Moreover, while prior work explores the convenience of using certain smartphone settings, for example, the burden of repeatedly typing a passcode to unlock the smartphone, little research explored the perceived difficulties with finding and enabling privacy and security settings. And these differences highlight the valuable contribution of our research. In this study, we answered the following research questions. Are users aware of privacy and security settings available on their smartphones and their default configurations? Have users configured smartphone privacy and security settings in the past, and do they intend to configure them in the future? What are users' perceptions of self-efficacy or perceived difficulty of configuring privacy and security settings, and what difficulties do they anticipate? What are users' understanding of the implications of changing smartphone privacy and security settings, including the impact on overall user experience with the smartphones and the perceived effectiveness in protecting from common privacy and security risks? And finally, what are the differences among users with different digital experience and different socio-demographic backgrounds, for example, age, gender identity, income, education, race, and ethnicity, in terms of their past behaviors, intentions to configure settings in the future, perceived difficulty, and impact on overall user experience with their smartphones? To select settings for our study, first we created a list of privacy and security settings available in the last versions of Android and iOS in August 2020 when we were preparing for the study. Because of the heterogeneity in use and settings availability in specific apps, we didn't include app settings in our analysis. To achieve more generalized results, instead, we focused only on the settings provided by the mobile operating systems and their default browsers, Safari for iOS and Chrome for Android, being the most popular mobile OS among the users. Then two researchers independently rated settings privacy and security impact, discussed in a seminar with 8 security researchers, and resolved the disagreements. The final list included 19 settings we eventually used in the study. To this end, we conducted an online survey of 178 smartphone users with diverse backgrounds and demographics residing in the United States. Each of the survey participants answered questions about 3 settings selected at random from our list of 19 settings. Our participants are diverse in terms of age, gender, race, and ethnicity, education level, employment, and income, but I invite you to refer to the paper for more details about the participants' demographics. As with any research, our study has a number of limitations. For instance, the generalizability of our results is potentially limited by smaller sample size, setting selections, and social desirability and overconfidence bias stemming from the self-reported answers. Future work is called to complement the survey results with the behavioral data from the cognitive interviews or field experiments in more realistic settings with a larger sample size and a wider selection of settings. For the sake of time, in this presentation, I'll be able to highlight only a few high-level insights. For more details, please refer to the paper. I'll start with the insights about the impact of socio-demographic factors. We found that higher age is associated with less frequent engagement with privacy and security settings, elevated expectations of difficulties with configuring them, and lower concern about privacy and security risks. Hispanic and Latinx participants reported less frequent engagement with privacy and security settings as well. Biracial participants had less privacy and security concerns and were more likely to expect difficulties with configuring smartphone privacy and security settings and their negative impact on user experience. Females were also less concerned about privacy and security risks. Finally, participants who use their smartphone less frequently anticipate more difficulties with configuring the settings, and users who anticipate such difficulties usually engage less in configuring privacy and security settings on their smartphones, based on our data. Interestingly, we found that age, race, and ethnicity have a significant impact on the past behaviors of configuring the smartphone privacy and security settings, but not on the intentions to do so in the future. It can be related to the fact that various socio-demographic groups may be similarly willing to configure their privacy and security settings, but differences in self-efficacy, smartphone experience, knowledge, and skills prevent some of them from actually enabling those settings. This finding suggests that certain socio-demographic groups may feel less prepared or willing to use smartphone settings to protect their information privacy and security. Thus, user education and interventions increasing the perceived self-efficacy are especially important for infrequent users and those with low esteem of their personal technical abilities. Regarding other research questions, we found that many participants are not aware of the available smartphone settings to counter privacy and security risks and have not changed them on their devices due to the anticipated difficulties with configuring the settings and expected negative impact on user experience. Yet, many of them are willing to change them in the future. While on average, more than half of our participants expect settings to be easy to configure, up to a third of participants anticipate difficulties with these tasks due to expected poor information architecture, lack of experience and knowledge, or technical limitations. Some participants believe that manufacturers make these settings hard to find and understand on purpose to maximize data collection. Finally, we found that some socio-demographic groups, such as older adults, racial and ethnic minorities, and females, are particularly vulnerable to online risks, as many of them are less concerned about online risks, engage less in configuring smartphone privacy and security settings, anticipate more difficulties with configuring them, and expect their negative impact on user experience. This paper provides recommendations for improving awareness, discoverability, transparency, comprehension, and usability of smartphone privacy and security settings, and I invite you to refer to the paper and ask any questions you may have. Thank you for your attention.